Kumla Black Gemara. Today's daf. This is a Wednesday's daf for Daf Pei Aleph. Rav said, you can leave whenever you want to. Rav said, Malkin al Yichud, the ain't oisin al Yichud. If a man and a woman were alone together, you give them malchus for being alone together. And according to Rashi, Rashi said malchus the rabbanon. It sounds like it's not an isa in the Torah for Yichud. Because if it's in the Torah of Yichud, then why you marriage? You get proper malchus. But the ain't oisin ala Yichud. But you're not going to say that she cannot live with her husband because we don't know if anything happened. It's just etzem Yichud. We're talking about it here. The Yichud of a Pnuya. Of the Yichud of is you don't give malchus at all. Why not? We don't want them to spread rumors. Why you give malchus? Probably because the children mamzedim. We don't want the children to be considered mamzedim. Machlekes the shaynim. What about the man? The woman you don't want to give malchus. Do you give malchus to the man or not? Because when you give malchus to the man, you don't say with which woman. You just say you had an affair with a married woman, and we don't. Or not an affair. Sorry, you were alone in yichud. Used to give malchus, and he would say this has nothing to do with that anything happens. It's just etzimin of yichud. I'm still worried that people will hear that he got malchus. They won't hear the reason why, and they will cast aspersions on the children. Rav says, Rav says we'll give malchus if we hear bad rumors about a person. That in itself is bad, and we give him malchus. And then it says, Eli said, Al bani, don't behave this way, my sons. In other words, if you generate from your behavior bad rumors about you, you deserve to be punished. Mazutra Moisula Afsila Kaspi used to put it like a saddle on their shoulder, and Al bani, and he would say, when he gave the pet, he would say, Al bani, you shouldn't. But the fact that there are rumors about you, then it's your fault. But Abba said, the husband's in town, then we're not worried about yichud because she knows the husband's around, so she will behave. If the door is open to the street, you're not worried about yichud. People once came to the house of Rabbi Yosef and they were eating together upstairs in the attic. And Basar, they cut a gift after they ate. And then Rabbi Yosef and his wife went downstairs. They were about to leave. He said, remove the ladder from upstairs so that Bibi is stuck upstairs. So he can't come down. Shouldn't be yichud with my wife. What are you worried about? He says the husband's in the city. You're in the city. You're leaving the house, but you're in the city. They know each other. They know each other. Then even though that the husband in the city, it doesn't help. Big machlekes the shaynim. What about the second thing? The door open to Rabin, and the person in the house knows is that a problem or not? Do we say that baila be'id is not good enough if the husband, if the wife knows this person, but if the door person to Rabin, anybody can walk in any moment? That's a much stronger protection, and therefore, even though they know each other well, we're not worried. Rav Kahana said a man on the outside, let's say there's an inner house and outer house, and the inner house walks through the outer house to get outside, but the outer house has no reason to walk into the inner house. So Rav Kahana said, if men are on the outside, the noshim b'fnim, and women are inside, there's no problem because yichud. The women will go through the men, but we said before one woman can be with two men, but the men have no reason to go into the women's side because they're on the outside, so no problem. But anoshim b'fnim, the men on the inside, anoshim b'chutz, women on the outside. So the women don't go to the men, but the men will go outside. One man and a few women be a problem. But masnika tonicha, just the opposite. That could be one of the men on the outside will sneak into the women's side, and he's not worried about any other men passing through because none of the men going that direction. They're all going outside from the outside, and therefore we're forget. Says Abaya, we have a machlekes of Kana in the Braisa, and onavi luchumra will be machna. Abaye Daya Gufri. Now, this is an amazing one. I mentioned this really ago. Abaye Daya Gufri. Abaye, when he would have a situation of men and women together, he would put these vessels made out of clay, a lot of them between the men and the women, as mechitzas. So if anybody would cross over, you would hear them bump into these vessels, and you would hear noise. And Rabbi Daya would read, and you would hear noise. But look what Rashi says here. Gufri. When would you have a situation that you have men and women? You need mechitzas. Rashi. I'm going to quote you the Rashi. Gufri. Right, parallel to the Gemara. Mokum kavutzas anoshim and noshim. When you have men and women together. When oiled drosha, a shear. So it's clear the men and women said separately, but it's not good enough. They would have a mechitza. Oil chuppah. Or a chuppah. Now, does it mean strictly a chuppah, or it means the dancing part? Why doesn't Sheim, Yavah, why doesn't Rashi say when they went to daven? But we know they did because first of all we had the Gemara say to the Chavbeis over there. Rabbi Yochanan asked the Salmona, "Why do you walk? You have 11 shuls in your neighborhood. Why did you walk to my shul so far away?" So we know in times Rabbi Yochanan, these times women went to shul to daven, and they didn't all have balconies and so on and so forth. When daven, why doesn't it say when a woman comes down, you should have a mechitza? It always bothered me that nowhere does it say that in a shul you should have a mechitza. And this answer that women don't go to shul is not true. The Frat, you have a whole Simmer Shulchan Aruch, a whole Sefer Shulchan Aruch, I think Peches, where it talks about if a woman is in a shul and she sees the Sefer Torah while she's a nida. And the same Shulchan Aruch, when it says Hilchah Beis HaKnesses, and it talks about the Bimishbi and the Aron Kodesh, doesn't mention a word about a mechitza. Not a word. Anyway, as we continue, Amar Avin, we'll come back to another Rashi, interesting. Amar Avin said, Sakva de Shasa Rigla, the worst time of the year is Yom Tov. Why is the worst time of the year Yom Tov? So Rashi says it again. I'll just quote you Rashi. The worst time of the year for Yichud between men and women was Yom Tov. And therefore, you might say, why? She has kvutzas anoshim and noshim l'shma drasha. Nobody came to daven. Nobody daven. They came to hear a drasha. And the noisim zeh. And they would ask questions and be across the aisle. The men would ask questions to the women would ask questions to the men, and so on. So things would happen because it would be interaction. So Taisha says that's why there's Bahab. Taisha says, look at Taisha says, the last two lines. That's why people fast Bahab, because the problem, because of maybe something happened in Yom Tov. The problem is the only people who fast are the ones who are not shaykh, or tzaddikim, and the greatest tzaddikim are the ones who fast. But we'll see in a minute that tzaddikim are not so pure. Let's see the Gemara item. Beautiful stories there. Said the Gemara, there were these captives, the Australian, they came to the door. They brought him to the house of Chassida, and he brought them up to the attic so he can raise money for them. He took the ladder away from them while they were upstairs, so there should be no yichud anything else. One of the girls, brilliant, was very pretty, was walking over the skylight. And her shadow, whatever it is, her countenance was seen through the skylight. And Avama has suddenly a burning desire to have a relation with her. He took a ladder to 10 people couldn't carry it. He had such enormous strength because of this strong desire. And he put it there. So he went up. He went up halfway in the stairs. He sort of paused and he stretched his leg out. He didn't want to go any further. He's trying to hold himself back. He raised his voice. There's a fire in the house of Amram. So he screamed out so people will come in and other people there will be embarrassed. Also the Rabbanan came and they realized there was no fire and they saw what's going on. The Rabbanan said, hey, you embarrassed us that you would have Amram should have a desire for a young woman. Amram said, without a shame, and I'd rather be embarrassed in this world for you people, but like and I can restrain myself so I shouldn't be embarrassed for the Eibishter. Then he made a shvur. The yimpik minay. He said, Yetzirah, I wanted to leave me. Nafak minay. The Yetzirah left him. He amuded and it looked like a pillar of fire. Amalei Chazi. He said to Yetzirah, "Da'atna your fire, v'ano bisa sachakal a piece of flesh. Normally, fire burns flesh. Yet v'ano adifna minach." Here we Amram had the desire. Now the Gemara goes further. We actually had the Gemara Sukkah, the story of Abaye, which is amazing, but the Gemara does not bring it here. Rameir was saying to people, can't you control yourself? Don't you have any self-control against Yitzhahara? Okay. He made it sound so simple. One day, there's something formed himself like a woman. On the other side of the river, a very pretty woman. There were no boats going across the river. Abaye took his rope and he tied it to the other side. He threw it to the other side, and he started to cross over. Not Abaye, Rameir. He started to cross over the river to get to that woman. When it came halfway through, the Yetzirah left him. The Yetzirah said to him, the Eibishter wouldn't have said, leave Rameir alone in the Torah. I would have turned you into a value of merely 2 coins. We know that it says by the base of Mikdash, don't see empty. So we have to bring a carbon. And the value of the carbon you had in Merchagiga is 2 more kesef. So we know the minimum amount of value, not a pruta, usually we say pruta, but the minimum of the value, I would have made you worth the minimum amount. You, the famous Amir, you turn the garden. So don't go out there and poke people who never, it's exactly what it says in time. Don't go and judge other people that, because they're less than you, because because you have no idea how strong Yetzer can be. Rabbi Akiva, the same thing. Rabbi Akiva. Yom echad idam le'sodom kitza bereish dikla tab a palm tree. Nokte ledikla. He took the palm tree because all he was is like climbing up the palm tree. He mocked the palm dikla shavke. The Yetzer left him halfway up. He's ordered, but if you wouldn't have told me in Shemayim, leave him alone. Shavish l'damatati ma return Yosef into 2 coins. Play my play me sati taunt. The Yetzirah said every day, an arrow in the eyes of Satan. I'm not going to listen to you. I was Elio Kippur. The Yetzirah came and dressed up like a poor person. Also, Korah Abba became and knocked on the door. I think a lady brought a piece of bread. Elio Kippur. Today, Elio Kippur, everyone's inside. I know Avroy actually say outside. I literally brought him inside, gave him a piece of bread. I'm sitting around the table. I'm sitting alone, like a hermit. I assume. They brought him to the table. Have Yosef he sat there. He made sure he had boils and scabs everywhere. He looked terrible. And he behaved in a very mean way. So they said to him, "Keep shaka, sit like a mensch." Give me a cup. Yavale Costa gave him a cup. Achmer showed the bekecha. He started, gurgling and phlegm. He poured into the cup in front of everybody. Nachrubei shaka. Then he made believe as if he died. Shaka makes. And then he went ahead and he coughed up, and then he dropped on the floor as if he died. Shamu. Then suddenly they heard people speaking outside. He called me play Mekatu Gavra, play Mekatu Gavra. But this play Aaron Kippur, he killed somebody. Orak, he fled. But Toshanash was the case. He hid in the bathroom. This is Aaron Kippur. Also, Basrei, the Yetzirah stood up from his death thing. Not for Kamei, came to the toilet and he fell a second time. The Chazram is died. He saw how a plainboy was so upset. Golol Nafshi, he revealed himself to him. Amalei, my time, why do you go around and say taunting me? So he said to him, what should I say? I want to make sure that you have no control of me. By me saying that, I know I'm in control. Amalei, what you should say is, remember the Abishah created this up. Say the Abishah should protect me from the sun. And then everyone said when a person doesn't have when a person doesn't have you feel guilty. It's not like people think the Yetzer now came to the fore and you feel guilty. It's the Yetzer. Why did you listen to me? I have a job to do to convince you to do an Aveda, but you don't have to listen to me. That's exactly what it says here. That you should say Rachman and Nigga Baby Sun. Abishah to protect me from the sun. Rabbi Barashi, this is a sad story. Rabbi Barashi, have a rogel koliden, have an opolape. Every time he said Tachon, have the Amar Harachmi Atzlein Meitzahara, same Meitzahara. Yom Echad, one day, Shamatir the Bisu, the wife heard him say this. And she said to herself, "What going on? For so many years we have no intimacy. The passions, I mean, other but passions is because he lost interest. Is my time to come hockey? What's he say? Protect me Yitzhara. Generally, he say protect me Yitzhara talking about Nashim, Nashim. And what's he worried about? Yom Echad, one day Habakkuk begins. He was learning in the field. We learn Tuesdays and Wednesdays. We learned doing that. Yom Echad, one day Kagaris begins. He was sitting out there at Chibarashi learning the field. Koshta Nafsha, and she, the wife, was an elderly woman. Obviously, she put on makeup. Cholf of the Tanya, she went by him once, went by him a second time. Omale Manat, and Chibarashi lays out, "Who are you?" He didn't recognize his own wife. Omra no Charusa. She named some harlot from that city. The hard to be. I just came back from my activities. Tova, he couldn't control himself, and he insisted on having a relationship with her. She said to him, "I see Nelly lahach rumona the reichu tzitza. Go up there and get me something. You say it's a limon, a pomegranate, but Rashi says reichu tzitza means the top of a palm tree. So burumina must be something else. That is the top of the palm tree. Rashi says it's a small little branch. So what's the word rumina? The rumina, the word rumina. That's what it has to be. Inside when top. Rashi says on of cotton to give a decal, but generally rumina is a limon. Anyway, Shabbat he jumped up. He jumped up the palm tree. Also, I brought it to him. Now, nowhere does the Gemara say anything happened between the two, but he had a desire. He also the came home. Had the koshaga the bisa tanuda. She went back to her normal self, and she was there, preparing food in the kitchen, and she prepared the oven. So he jumped inside the oven. What are you doing? He told her the truth, and therefore I'm doing sugar. No, it was me. Ashma didn't believe her. She gave him all the signs that it was me. The fact is that I intended, and Nachman, he didn't even do an Aveda with Pashtas. He just had a Kavanah. Every single day he fasted until he died from the fasting, the tshuva that he did for that thought. And what did it bother him so much? He didn't do an Aveda. Look at the time we learned. It says that a woman should be made for the neighbor should forgive her. What are we talking about? She should be linsed nazir. She nazir be nazir. She needed be nazir. She may never should be nazir. The shava b'ayla the husband heard annulled it. The healer other shavla b'ayla. She didn't know the husband annulled it. Well, he said she yain. She drank wine from a tam lemesi. So she didn't do an aveda, but she thought she was. And this is a lie that he didn't do an aveda either. He just intended to do an aveda, or maybe he did do an aveda, but it was really his wife. You learn in two ways. Now, Abaye was told there. Well, she wanted to see anyway. Abaye the Gemara said that anyone who's greater has a great Yitzhak another person. By the way, from here there's a big machlekes in Poskim if a person is allowed to commit suicide to do tshuva. You see right here, he jumped into the oven. He jumped into the oven to kill himself for tshuva. It's a shitting about the Gimel there when the how Kaivis when Rebbe passed away, the guy jumped off because he got a chelik on Haba. So are you allowed to commit suicide in order to do tshuva? From here they want to bring it out. Yes, others disagree. He came to this policy, also he cried. Somebody wanted to eat treif, and he ate kosher. Taita says. You have to bring a card. If you wanted to eat today, if you eat today, we're going to punishment again. It says, if you didn't know you didn't have Aveda, but Hashem and you're guilty, the Nosavon, you carried a sin. Even though you didn't know you're doing an Aveda, you carried a sin. He cried a lot of Kiva. He said, Ma Mishin is Kavan. Somebody ate. Interesting, when he was being killed, he was laughing. And here he was crying. Ma Mishin is Kavan. He wanted to eat kosher. He wanted to eat kosher fats. And what they end up eating? He committed a sin, is guilty. He intended to obey, he did. All those who need to cry, this is a good reason to cry. We'll stop over here and continue tomorrow. Have a good day.